to know your take, man. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, who you got?
No, Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson?
Jake Paul will be up against. He'll get teased for taking this fight, for one. He'll get teased for that. He'll work himself through that. But, yeah, if he goes out there and cleans his clock.
A showdown between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul? It sounds like a clash of two entirely different worlds. A former heavyweight champion and one of the most talked about newcomers in the sport. But who is going to win this fight? Boxing legends, analysts, and even some of Jake Paul's former opponents are weighing in on this hypothetical battle, and their predictions might surprise you. Let's break down what experts and fighters think about this upcoming fight. Many experts agree this fight would come down to game plans and who could stick to them. One key factor? Mike Tyson's power and experience against Jake Paul's youth and endurance. Most experts emphasize that the first few rounds would be critical. Oscar De La Hoya, a retired American professional boxer, said, "If this fight happens, it's going to come down to who can execute their game plan. Tyson needs to be aggressive early and land big shots. Jake, on the other hand, has to stay composed and drag the fight into the later rounds where his youth will give him an advantage." De La Hoya's prediction highlights a common theme in many expert opinions. Tyson, even at his age, is still capable of delivering knockouts with his incredible power. But if Jake Paul can weather the storm early on and take the fight into the later rounds, his youth and stamina could start to tip the balance.
It's going to be dangerous for Tyson. It will not be dangerous for Tyson because, I mean, Tyson's been up in the ring with, monsters. He has a chin. He can. I'm sure he can go 6 rounds, 7 rounds, 8 rounds. But I'm just concerned about Tyson's legacy. That's it.
Yeah.
This sentiment was echoed by Brandon Wise, CBS Sports combat analyst, who also pointed out how crucial those first rounds would be for Tyson. Wise said, "Tyson's best chance would be in the first few rounds. His power is legendary, but his stamina at 58? That's a big question mark. If Jake can survive that early barrage, he could start to take control in the second half of the fight." In other words, Jake Paul needs to be smart about how he approaches the fight. If he tries to trade punches with Tyson in the opening rounds, he could get knocked out. But if he stays on the outside, uses his reach, and keeps his composure, the fight might shift in his favor as Tyson tires. One thing Jake Paul has consistently shown is his ability to get under his opponent's skin. Whether it's pre-fight trash talk or social media antics, Paul knows how to play the psychological game. But will that work against someone like Mike Tyson? Fighters like Nate Diaz, who has faced trash talkers throughout his career, doubt it. Diaz said, "Jake talks a lot, but Tyson's not someone you can intimidate. He's seen it all. You're not going to get into his head. Jake needs to focus on boxing and leave all that other stuff out. Tyson's the real deal."
I want to know your take, man. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, who you got?
No, Mike Tyson.
Diaz's point is significant. Mike Tyson has faced all kinds of opponents, including ones who tried to rattle him before the fight. The consensus is that Tyson won't be fazed by Jake's mind games. In fact, Matt Brown, UFC veteran, even believes that trying to provoke Tyson could backfire on Jake Paul. Brown said, "If Jake tries to mess with Tyson mentally, I think it's a mistake. Tyson's been in the ring with the toughest guys on the planet. He's seen every trick in the book. You might just light a fire under him and make him more dangerous." Brown's prediction suggests that Jake Paul will need to focus strictly on his strategy inside the ring.
These guys don't need to be fighting, man. I just hope no one walks out of that fight with brain damage. I hope no one gets knocked out. I hope they put on a great fight and everybody enjoys it. But, I got to hope the best for these guys, that they can.
Any attempt to turn the fight into a mental game could work against him, motivating Tyson to prove that, despite his age, he's still as fierce as ever. One of the most qualified voices to speak on this matchup is someone who's actually shared the ring with Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley, former UFC welterweight champion. Woodley, who fought Paul twice, has insight into Jake's strengths, but also his limitations. Woodley said, "Jake's got power, no doubt. He's smart in the ring too. But Tyson? That's a different animal. If they fight, Jake needs to be on point defensively. One mistake and it's lights out. But Jake's younger, and he's been putting in the work. If he stays disciplined, he can make it a real fight." Woodley points to a key aspect of Jake Paul's approach, his discipline. Throughout his fights, Jake has shown that he can stick to a game plan. Whether it was using his power to knock out Woodley or fighting cautiously against Anderson Silva, Jake knows how to adapt in the ring. Against Tyson, he'll need to be even more disciplined, especially in terms of defense.
They'd be like, how much would you have to get paid to fight Mike Tyson? I'm like, shit, I'll never be able to spend it. Like, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, he's fighting the one fighter that most people feared. And I feel like 58, 27, the age is not a factor. That's a wash, right? Experience level obviously is going to go to Mike Tyson. But Jake's got a screw loose, man.
The general consensus. Most experts agree that the fight will come down to two main factors: Tyson's early aggression and Jake Paul's ability to weather that storm. Here's what some final predictions look like. Stephen A. Smith, sports analyst, said, "If Tyson comes out strong and lands those big shots early, it's over. I don't care how tough Jake is if Tyson hits you clean. It's night-night. But Jake's smart, and if he can take the fight deep, he's got a chance to outlast Mike." Smith's point echoes much of the expert analysis. The key for Jake Paul is survival. If he can avoid getting hit with a clean shot in the early rounds, his chances of winning increase significantly.
Paul versus Mike Tyson, okay? We'll start in the world of boxing where the fight between this YouTuber, Jake Paul, and the former heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson, will now be sanctioned as a professional fight.
Joe Rogan, UFC commentator and podcaster, said, "Jake's got power, and he's been training hard. He's legit. But Tyson is a monster. Even at 58, his punches are something else. If Jake fights a perfect fight, he can pull it off. But he can't afford to make any mistakes." Joe Rogan's balanced prediction reflects what many experts are saying. This fight is not as one-sided as some people might think. Jake Paul is young, strong, and committed, but Mike Tyson's power and experience are undeniable. It's a classic case of youth versus experience, and both sides have valid arguments.
I say, if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was like 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes, and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fucking fight. He knows how to fight. Like, nothing he's doing looks wrong.
Shannon Briggs, former heavyweight champion, said, "Jake's a wild card, man. But Tyson's Tyson. It's gonna come down to who lands first. If Mike gets inside and lands, it's over. But Jake's got a good team around him. He's gonna be prepared. Of course, there are always X factors. Tyson's age, for example, is a critical consideration. At 58, his stamina is likely not what it used to be. But his punch power and ring IQ are still dangerous. On the other hand, Jake Paul has shown significant improvement, but he's never faced anyone quite like Mike Tyson. The consensus seems to be that Tyson has the advantage early, but Jake's youth and discipline could make the difference if the fight goes into the later rounds. Experts agree that no one can count Jake out, but many still lean toward Tyson's raw power as the deciding factor. Who will win in the upcoming fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul? The strength and experience of Tyson versus the youth, hunger, and growing skills of Jake Paul. Whether it's Iron Mike or the problem child, this is a fight no one wants to miss. Let us know in the comments below who you think would win, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more boxing news. We'll see you in the next video.